Happy 63rd Independence Day as we celebrate 25 years of media excellence here at the Multimedia Group. Welcome to The Pulse. My name is Daniel Daze. In our headlines, President Akufo-Addo assures of the nation's preparedness to deal with any possible coronavirus outbreak in his speech to mark the 63rd Independence Day anniversary of Ghana in Kumasi. We bring you details of that. Also coming up, the police tasks Ghanaians to ensure that political parties tell Ghanaians how they intend to deal with road safety as they prepare their manifestos. The police will be joining us as part of our Arrive Alive campaign. Also, it's a delicious holiday as Adum FM and Adum TV holds the annual Fufu party here at the premises of the Multimedia Group. You might just grab a bite or a taste. Stay with us. We begin the bulletin on a grim note as the South Tongue District Assembly in the Volta region has announced new measures to deal with the security concerns in the area following the killing of an assembly member for Sogakope, Marcus Ajali, last Sunday. News of the murder triggered protests and roadblocks by the youth demanding improved security. Joynews is learning police have arrested 3 people in connection with the incident. We'll hear from the District Chief Executive for South Tongue, Emmanuel Agama, shortly. But first, Joynews has been to the community to interact with relatives and friends of the late Marcus Ajali about who he was. Komla Adum and Fred Kwame Asare were there.
A quiet compound, a building with outside light bulbs still on several hours after daybreak. A white newly registered salon car welcomes visitors to the home of the murdered assembly member for Sogakope South, Marcus Mauto Ajahli. A group of 20 relatives and well-wishers have come to see for themselves the ruins from last Sunday's attack. They murmur and chatter among themselves, each one asking questions about the killing of their own. On the corridor of the entrance are sand particles from broken blocks and stones with a portion of a door handle smashed. That is where the attackers use as access into the room, we are told. One of the occupants of the adjoining buildings in the same compound is still traumatized after one of the attackers pointed a gun at her.
So what I hear is boo, 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 boo. So when I was coming out to the porch, the noise was coming from the other side. So when I opened the door, I come out cry before I hear that the noise was coming from this direction. So I walked towards the direction. When I read this motorcycle car, the person was standing here against the wall. So he just set the gun on me. So I quickly said, then I ran back to the room.
She says scenes of that night's event continue to play back on her mind every time.
We were here arguing the thing and the wife came. When the wife can sit down, there's blood. She can't see anything with the blood. So we quickly head and lay her down on the floor. So they called their car that they brought there. They should take her to the hospital. So I said they should add my brother. They said no. And said the emergency ambulance can say, then they killed my brother. They say, why am I saying that? I say, if the person didn't die, why is umbrella would take him? They should let him enjoy the wife. They say no.
This is what she was told before the body of the late Marcus Ajahli was taken away.
They say they use knife to remove the 2 eyes. They shoot here. They shoot the waist. They cut him with the knife. Basa basa. Nyama nyama no. That's what people say. Me, I didn't see.
Though residents here maintain the assembly member could have been saved had there been prompt response to their distress calls, they know somehow the killers would be found.
By all means, if it is 20 years, they will be found.
You are confident that they will be found?
Why not? If Walter himself is not thinking the dead that he dead, he should leave them to go free. He should leave them to go free. 20 years, they will be found.
Out there in town, shops belonging to the murdered assembly member are shut. Workers have been asked to stay home. These small business owners share shops along the same lane with one of Marcus Ajahli's shops, Mark Greenville Ventures, just around the market.
free. Even I went there to do more money, everything I went there to do it. And surprisingly, it was sad news for us because we don't know that it will happen. And we don't know who have done that. So as of now, you can see that a lot of people have been so bored and worried about the whole issue, that the whole thing that has happened.
She's sending her well wishes and comforting messages to the wife and the children. They should keep faith. She prays that the Almighty God will console them in these times. Okay, finally, me kakaleji dele mi asibe police wa ton wa investigation bo arrest and make way over mountain.
Ma thank globe kakaleji because ale kata ngojo no be o police o yon ye mo tension mi ada ko fifia ma o wo ha o joho nkai fia be wa tan akpo ma o ta to me la.
She says even though the perpetrators may have fled, somehow they expect the police to be able to try and fish them out so justice will be served. More than 200 meters away from the market area is another branch of his mobile phone and call credit shop, also shut. A local shop few meters from this shop hosts a bunch of young men who together play draft here. Now they have lost a key friend.
When I saw the picture on the telly, I didn't believe it. I wanted to come here to find out. So this morning I arrived here in town from Kumasi, and I came. When I came, the shop was locked, and the shop, as you can see, is still locked. So I was inquiring. It was there they told me it's the Maswell that I know that the armed robbers attacked. In fact, it's a sad thing. It's a very sad story.
The issue has been a subject of talk among community folk. A cocktail of grief, anger, and disbelief continues to characterize the mood here. But the residents believe Sunday and Monday's violent protests over the matter could yield results. Meanwhile, sources close to police in the region say 3 people have been arrested in connection with the killing. They are being interrogated as police widens its probe into the matter. Komla Adom and Fred Kwame Asaris report for Joynews.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Speaking of departed lives, the director of the MTTD of the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Alexander Obeng, has charged Ghanaians to vote for a political party who inculcates road safety measures in its manifesto as the basis for their vote. This, he says, will ensure road safety policies are given priority by policymakers. The National Road Safety Authority, in partnership with the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service and other non-state actors, embarked on a road safety campaign as Ghana celebrates its 63rd anniversary on the Accra-Tema motorway. We hear from him soon, but before then, it was a normal day. 37-year-old Dennis Ayimbila was heading to Bolgatanga for the burial of his father, but a crash midway robbed him of the opportunity to say his final goodbye. It also robbed him of his joy, as a spinal injury has made him lose his ability to control discharge of urine and feces. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this story for our hashtag Arrive Alive campaign to stop accidents on Ghana's roads.
I am in Dennis's room. His sister Gloria is trying to get him in a reclining position for this interview, but the pain is simply unbearable. A tube-like device that stores his urine lies on the floor close to him. He sits to narrate to me how a speeding driver truncated his aspirations in his final year of studies to become a medical practitioner.
the police report that I managed to get, when you read the police report, they were saying that the driver of the trailer was the one who caused the accident because he was over speeding and then was sleeping at the same time. Some of the people got trapped in the bus, so they were trying to chisel and be able to get some out, though they were even dead. And in the process of doing, the bus caught fire. And Ben, our driver, is missing other people to ashes, living with only their schools.
He sustained a spinal injury which affected his ability to control urine flow and excreta.
Yeah, I can't control. Yeah, I can't control it. That's why the urine bag is connected. The way I were to be able to control, there's something that if I feel I urinate, I'll just take it in, put in and I urinate. Yeah.
So now you don't feel anything?
I don't feel my lower limbs, I don't feel anything. It just comes by it all. It just comes by it all. The same thing to when I'm going on private, it comes just like that. But, so as I sit, I have to be checking myself and all that. I've been confined to one place. Even as I talk to you now, I have vision problems. You can imagine somebody just lying at one place for 10 years, this 10 years. Even as I'm talking to you, I can't see you clearly. I have vision problems now. I'm even losing my sight gradually. My life is going waste. My life is going waste. And at this my age, I still have a long way to go in life. So I'm really appealing to the general public, appealing to Ghanaians, and even the rest of the world, that anybody who watches me should please come to my aid. Please come to my aid.
His 25-year-old sister, Gloria Labrob, says she had to drop out of school to take care of her brother who used to fund her education.
To take care of him. If he want water, I'm the one who remove and give it to him. He cannot do anything. Because of that, I'm not going anywhere. Just sitting at home. I'm not doing anything. My colleagues are finished school, some are working. Look at me. Now I'm in the house. I'm not doing anything.
A pastor at the Divine Faith Ministries, Reverend George Carty, has been trying to get support for Dennis.
I know him from him, but when I saw him, honestly, his story really moved me. So I continued to intercede on his behalf, prayer day in, day out. He can't do anything for the past 10 years. He's just confined to one place. He cannot do anything. We know God is able to do all, but he needs medical attention, financial assistance. He needs financial support. So anybody watching, anywhere you are watching from, he needs financial support.
In another gruesome accident story, she survived a deadly crash on the Accra-Suhum Highway on November 14, 1993. The spot of the accident has been nicknamed Suhum 22 because 22 people were killed. It was an accident involving a 33-seater passenger bus and a cargo truck reported to have been carrying out a dangerous overtaking. As part of our Arrive Alive campaign, Komla Adom has been speaking to 57-year-old Kafui Epia Danswa Akatu, who has now taken to offering education on fire safety to residents and schools around the Adenta Snitz flats here in Accra.
Road traffic accidents is a terrible thing. Imagine just picking a bag that you are going in the cab only to be lifted by ambulance or haze from Suhum Government Hospital for specialist attention in Kolebu.
As she recounts the traumatic experience of November 14, 1993, tears fill the eyes of a retired fire officer who says she is 57 years but has been asked to proceed on retirement. It was a crash that left her permanently scarred with severe injuries to her arm, legs and head 27 years ago.
That accident was tagged as Suhum 22 because it is said 22 deaths were recorded, and it was a 33-seater bus that collided with articulator that was on the 33-seater bus was 8 course. in its lane from Accra. The articulator was overtaken and met ours on head-on. And the vehicles, imagine articulator that is the bus is beyond repairs. But I'm alive, and I know it's a grace, and God has made me survive for a purpose.
Kafui Danswa Akatu's life will change, and for the rest of her active working life in the fire service, she was left redundant, unable to continue her physical education training.
I've been in Kolebu for 1 year. This arm, I had a close fracture, so it was just in POP beside me, but the leg was so bad that the tibia fibula was compound fracture, my thigh bone. Imagine a physical education, this leg like this. Now I can't run, I can't squat, I can't jog.
It's been a tough one for her, but she's happy she's alive. Alive to impact society the best way she can, championing girl child and fire safety education.
I've been declared as 55% physically challenged and 5% disfigured. And I resumed work from 1995, May thereabout, on light duties. And I've been on light duties till I went on retirement. And I was just made redundant. I was made to be showing up at Medina Fire Station for people not to say that I'm at home collecting salary, and that's my schedule. But I said, no, that's not me. There's something I have to do, which is fire safety education.
She was a fluent spokesperson for the fire service then, she tells me. Today, it's all a past glory.
Actually, I had a cut on my head. And the medical report tells that I've suffered brain contusion. The impact of the accident shook, and I've been in coma. I have all the medical report there.
But she's committing to joining a campaign for safer road transport to save many more lives.
I guess that they should go within the road limit or the speed that they are supposed to go when they are driving through town, as with that of town and that of highways. So they should observe the rules and not overtake in curves or people who, especially like on the highways where they stop by the roadside. There should be a bypass. A bypass should be created by in those towns like Budu, near Suhum, where mine happened at. But there should be a bypass where the car will park away from the road for those coming to have it straight on and know whether it's safe to go or not. They should just go by the road signs and what is expected of them on the roads.
It's been almost 30 years after the accident, but Kafui is lucky to have survived it. She's thankful that she at least has a voice left, one to say to another driver to be careful on the road, with the expectation that someone would listen.
Psalm 121, I've forgotten the verse 2, but when you go to Psalm 121, they said that we should always pray that God should preserve our going out and coming in, or anything at all can happen. You can be walking and the car will run into you. You can be in your kiosk or your container and the vehicle will run into it and you lose your life. In fact, I've suffered. So you can imagine life was just good. Oh, it's unfortunate.
She wants you to hashtag arrive alive.
And we all want you to arrive alive. We can now hear from Superintendent Alexander Obeng on the need to charge politicians to take our safety serious.
Let me make an appeal. Even in Ghana now, and I'll start with mine. In Ghana now, we are now preparing for 2020 elections, isn't it? All political parties are preparing their manifestos. For me and my household, I will look at a manifesto of a political party that has incorporated the 2020 and 2030 actions that has been deployed by UN in terms of road safety, that do have it in them to attract my vote, because without it, I'm not safe. And without it, I'm likely to die. Without it, the youth are likely to die. Without it, so many, about 12,000 Ghanaians will get injured this year. So what do I have to, what am I saying? I'm saying that I'm appealing to all political parties, as they have set up their manifesto committees, to also get closer to road safety managers and then to adopt all the road safety ideals which is also the state policy, into their manifestos and assure Ghanaians that when they are given the necessary power to come and lead, they will also not push road safety to the back burner. That is my appeal to the media, and that's what is important, that we have Joynews. Because without you, who am I to articulate this?
The hashtag remains Arrive Alive. Please drive safely, especially since we're celebrating the holiday weekend. You're still live here on The Pulse with me, Daniel Daze. A lot more stories to deal with, but some of the stories that we've dealt with so far, we've taken you to Sogakope, where friends and relatives of Maxwell Ajali, the late Maxwell Ajali, are calling for swift state action in investigations into his death. We've also heard the sad story of victims of road accidents who are calling on the general public to drive safely as we embark on this Arrive Alive campaign. My name is Daniel Daze. There is more coming up on The Pulse. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is The Pulse. My name is Daniel Daze. We continue with our Arrive Alive campaign, and the director for the MTTD, Superintendent Alexander Obing, is calling for support from non-state actors who have endorsed the Joynews Arrive Alive campaign.
Appreciate Joynews and these non-state actors who are here with us, that we want to see in the background. You see High Links Communication Limited. You see Dr. Aga hospital, and you see Joynews. It shows clearly in that you are even overwhelming the state actors here, the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of Ghana Police Service and the National Road Safety Authority of Ministry of Transport. Of course, you are three, and it's 3-2. It shows clearly where the world is heading towards. That in a situation where we find ourselves, where much of the set goal, including achieving as a 50% of fatalities reduction, which we couldn't do between 2011 and 20, UN thinks that we should, in collaboration with non-state actors, road safety advocacy group, the media, the health service professionals, and High Links, among other plethora of private entities who have the will, capacity, the needed competences, and wherewithal to deliver all that they have to support the state in achieving our road safety goals. And I think that it's good that we are gathered here, and more so when we have, on this day of our independence, instead of cooling off elsewhere, we have all decided on behalf of Ghana, come as one people. Either you work for the formal sector or you work for the non-formal, that we are one. And that one problem that confronts us is that every year about 2,000 Ghanaians die, and that by close of day, this Independence Day, on the 6th of March 2020, if much of this is not done, and if any history is relevant to us, 6 Ghanaians or road users will lose their lives on the road. And on this basis, Superintendent Alexander Obing, Director in charge Education, Research and Training at Motor Traffic and Transport Department, I, on behalf of my Director General and on behalf of the Inspector General of Police and Ghana and all road users, I endorse Arrive Alive of Joynews.
Now, another organization which has endorsed the campaign is Dr. Agawal's Hospital. They provided eye screening for the drivers, and they said they were encouraged by the Arrive Alive campaign, and they are joining the fight.
We are partnering with them because of the number of accidents that have gone up lately in Ghana. We are in partnership with them so that we kind of like inform and sensitize the drivers to know the safety and importance of having a proper eye, to see and drive. And also we are kind of like endorsing the Joy FM Arrive and Alive campaign to help drivers, kind of like know the importance of their eyes. In terms of when drivers drive at night or even during the day, because they don't have the, let's say, the knowledge about eye problems.
Now, we are joined on the line by the director of the MTTD, Superintendent Alexander Obeng, and in the studio is the face you just saw, Michelle Francis from Agawal Hospital. Good afternoon, Michelle. Welcome to the Pulse.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
And on the phone lines, we have Superintendent Obeng. Superintendent, tell us, from your perspective, how is the campaign faring? Hello, Superintendent.
To all of us. I think, first of all, it is important to appreciate where we have come, how far we have come as a country in terms of public health and safety regarding the use of the road, either as vehicle owners, drivers, vehicle occupants, and pedestrians. That the impact is that the road use is having on us is unacceptable. And to the Tunisia, we cannot deny the inclusion of the private sector or the non-state actors, including the media, because we are many and we are scattered, including visiting road users across the country, and on-the-spot checks alone cannot solve our road safety problem. That we need a medium that instantly can reach out to as many as possible so that we'll be able to share the road safety ideas and best practices, particularly those that target the vulnerable road users, including pedestrians and those on motorbikes and those on bicycles, among others. And therefore, having opportunity to partner and work on the spine of the media, and in particular, Arrive Alive project is welcoming, and I endorse it, and I hope that it will not only end with the endorsement, but many Ghanaians who tune in and hear the ideas that are being propagated, the sensitization and issues regarding our compliance we need to ensure that we have safer road users is put to use by Ghanaians. So I endorse it, and it has come at the right time, at the offering of the 2020 to 2030 road safety campaign that has been launched by the United Nations, of which Ghana is an integral part.
Right. Thank you very much for those kind words, Superintendent Obeng. Now, Michelle Francis, you have decided to join the campaign. What's your evaluation of how effective it's been?
Well, with the Arrive Alive campaign, it's we've seen that Joynews has taken it to another level, whereby they are trying to inform the drivers on the importance of road safety. We at Dr. Agawal's Eye Hospital make sure that at least everyone has the best eyesight to be able to do what they have to do in a very healthy manner. For instance, the drivers that go do their daily routines of going and coming, they have to have the best eyesight. If you don't have the best eyesight, you're not going to arrive alive. So you have to make sure that your eyes are seeing the best. A lot of people come with eye problems that mind-boggling, and most of them say they're actually driving. So we are wondering, how are you driving with this particular eyesight?
Right.
Yeah. So what we do is that we are doing a campaign whereby we give awareness to all Ghanaians on glaucoma, which is an actual rampant disease in Africa. With glaucoma, it's known as a silent killer because it has no symptoms. It's not like malaria, whereby a patient or someone will have high pressure or headaches. No. With glaucoma, it comes suddenly and then it's too late for you to see.
Interesting.
So what we do is that when you come to the hospital, we make sure that we do all these thorough investigations, and scans to check and see if your vision is up to par.
Right.
If it's not, then we give you the best solution. With glaucoma, a lot of people have the assumption that there is treatable. Yes, it's manageable, but there's no cure. So for you to be able to save your vision, you need to come or see a doctor, an ophthalmologist, for them to actually examine your eyes to see how best it is.
Right, and I'm very curious to hear that connection between eye problems and road accidents. But we hit the road today, Superintendent Obeng. Can you run us through some of the details of what we did when we were on the Accra-Tema motorway? How many drivers did we see? What are some of the challenges that we identified?
Hello.
Right, Superintendent Obeng, if you can hear me, I just wanted to get some details of this morning's effort on the Accra-Tema motorway.
Please, can you come again, please?
I was asking, how did this morning's effort go?
Thank you very much.
On the Accra-Tema motorway.
I was elated because I saw Ghana coming together with one purpose, that road safety problem is a shared and collective responsibility for the state actors and non-state actors, and it takes activity on the ground to solve it. And I saw Highlink, and I saw Dr. Agawa Eye Hospital officials and the National Road Safety Authority officials, with the support from the NAPCO officials and Motor Traffic and Transport Department personnel, of which I was part, representing the Director General among others. And I also saw interest and public-spirited road users also welcoming, participating, receiving as we share, and admonishing ourselves and encouraging ourselves that one problem we have is road safety problem regarding preventable incidents or preventable road crashes as a result of human negligence among others. And that now we have all decided that since we know the problem, we will solve it together. And with the support that we received, I think that that is the way forward.
Did you observe any
the media and that there shouldn't be only the burden of the Ghana or the Joynews, because Joynews also anchored whatever that we did. And I'm happy that the dream of the state is being achieved in our lifetime and not in the distant millennia, that road safety, enforcement without enhanced sensitization may not achieve much. And so I'm encouraged, and I'm happy that in times like this, Joynews was there, Highlink was there, Dr. Agawa personnel were there, and then Road Safety, MTTV, and all the years interacted on this Independence Day to solve one of our problems in Ghana. And I encourage that other media also should emulate you, and I'm happy.
Did you observe any road traffic offenses this morning?
Road safety is on.
Did you observe any road traffic offenses this morning?
Oh, obviously.
How many?
That's why I'm happy, because we have some perennial road safety problems regarding bad mannered driving and indiscipline. And those that I saw, which managed to influence such behavior, include use of speed guns, the fact that some even minors were not stopped by the adult occupant, and we managed to admonish and draw attention, warn, admonish, and we gave some flyers to reinforce that. We also saw other infractions, i.e. non-compliance with standard tire use, and among others. And I think that as far as many of the motorists who saw the presence of us, and it reminded them, and most of them were wearing those who didn't know inquired and we drew their attention. I hope that it is a good sign, and I hope all of us we learned a lot from what happened. There were a lot that...
do you have a number, Superintendent Obeng? Do you have a number of these infractions that you observed?
Come again, sir.
Do you have a number of these infractions that you observed?
A number of...
these traffic infractions that you observed?
Oh, no, there were as many because it was admonishment and not necessarily to the arrest. Off my head, I can say those that, for example, we observed without wearing seatbelt. If my estimate is right, about 50 persons were not in seatbelt, and the particular notice I took was minors who the drivers have confined them to the back seat, but were not wearing seatbelt. I could count about 7, and so I'm happy because the vehicle occupant, particularly the motorist, allowed us to demonstrate to the motorists what they are supposed, their responsibility to strap these minors under 18 who were put on their charge to ensure that any minor on board a vehicle driven by an adult, the adult to ensure that the minors under 18 are forced to wear for them. There's other observation we made that some of the seatbelts, because they were not comfortable and prescribed for the minors at the back. So I recommended to them what the law says, that such minors, because of their physical features, the parents should provide with them with carrying devices like carrying cots among others, because the original seatbelts on the vehicles were not appropriate. And I think that these are some of the things moving on or assist us when we are reviewing the airline to ensure that such things are taken notice. So generally, it was good. And one thing also is that when such setups are done, people tend to also show compliance in advance. So that was also noticed. However, generally, people appreciated it. And one thing that we also demonstrated to them was that we gave a flyer that says "Stop Road Accident Now," and we gave it out. And majority accepted it and displaying it at the rear of their vehicle to others who were not present. And we hope that anybody driving who sees "Stop Road Accident Now" placed at the rear of the vehicle you are following, know that Ghana is admonishing you to refrain from such behavior, including excessive speeding, unlawful overtaking, unlawful change of lane, giving vehicle to untrained or unlicensed persons, and on alcohol or on other substances that influence behavior to drive dangerously.
Now, Superintendent, you've touched on very key issues there that have to do with road safety, and I'll bring a couple of them to Michelle Francis, who is with us in studio. Now, Ms. Francis, 94% of all traffic accidents in the country are caused by what we call the human factor. You introduced an important part of it, that these people can't see enough. We know that 700,000 people are suffering from glaucoma, according to the Association of Ghana. How many cases do you see on the average, let's say in a month or a week, of people who are not fit to drive?
Severally, actually, and those numbers are actually increasing every day. Now, let's say in a day we can have about, let's say, 50 walk-ins with people with glaucoma. And this is the part whereby, because they don't have the education or the knowledge about this particular disease, they go about their day thinking it's just a normal eye problem. So they drive and do all sorts of activities, having these challenges. Now, when they come to the hospital, most of them, it's already too late. So we can't do anything for them. Then those that come and at least there is some vision, there's some hope, we try to do some sort of treatment plan or even surgeries to at least help prevent the remaining vision from actually deteriorating. Most of the times with the glaucoma, it affects your optic nerves. This is what you need to actually see and see clearly. If these optic nerves are severed or maybe there is a problem involved in that particular area of the eye, vision is impaired and it's permanent. So that is one of the things that, this is one of the diseases that especially Ghanaians are facing. And also glaucoma being hereditary, it means that it passes down from one generation to another. So what you do is that at least, maybe if you know of someone or maybe your grandparents had this disease or maybe they had an eye problem, just for precautionary sake, check your eyes. Make sure that there is no problem, that you are seeing much better. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So for these 50 walk-ins, would you say that the majority of them are not fit to drive?
Yes, in sense.
Interesting. Superintendent Obing, finally with you, would you agree with the assertion being made by our experts from Agawa Hospital that this large number of drivers are not fit to hold a steering wheel because of their eyesight?
So far as that is concerned, I was happy with what went on today because it's something that we need to sustain, knowing very well that periodically in Ghana, every 2 years is when drivers go to DVLA and get their vitals examined. First of all, medically examine their eyes and observe them physically to see whether they don't have any other disability. So, in between, if we have a reliable stakeholder like High Link and Dr. Agawa Eye Hospital personnel, an entity to support road users in Ghana through Arrive Alive campaign by drawing the attention and admonishing and directing them to the physician to examine their eye, knowing very well that without the eye or the eyes, nobody will be granted license, because driving is pivoted on a principle called see and be seen. And therefore, when we have a strategy like this that draws the attention of the motorist to the fact that it is vital that he or she ensures that the eye is as expected, it is well and good. And so, for me, it is worthy of emulation, and all of us must adhere. Me, myself, I'm a driver. So, I've also taken a cue. I will not even wait for the 2 years. But periodically, I will proceed to police hospital eye clinic for them to assist me.
So you would agree then,
if I
Superintendent?
need appropriate lens, I'll use it.
So you would agree then, Superintendent, that a number of these drivers on the road are not driving well because they are not checking their eyesight regularly?
Hello?
I was asking if you would agree with the assertion that a number of these people are driving the way they are because their eyesight is not very good.
I wouldn't take my neck out completely, because the only system we have to check is at the DVLA when they go, and anytime they go, they are supposed to have their eyesight examined every 2 years before, and they should pass that eye test before the licenses are renewed. So far as these licenses are renewed, it's that they have good eyesight and they don't have any disability. And therefore, for me, what I would like to say is that we shouldn't wait. And there's also likelihood that some of the crashes may be as a result of the poor eyesight, and that's why it is also included on the checklist before licenses are renewed. And so it's important that we do that. And as humans, we degenerate. So nobody will doubt that all the organs will always be as it is. We degenerate, so it's important.
I was having a conversation with a few friends, superintendents, finally, and the observation was made that it's very rare to find a commercial driver, I mean a truck or a taxi driver who wears glasses, but it's very common to find persons with, I mean, the national prevalence of eye problems in Ghana is so high. It's interesting, isn't it, that among this large section of the population, you don't have any people wearing glasses, any people admitting that they have eye problems and treating them actively.
Anyway, I do a lot of training. I've seen some commercial drivers, particularly intercity drivers, none of whom put on glasses.
But for taxis and trotro drivers who work on their own?
Yeah, the intra is not pronounced. And there is some veracity in that statement, but you need to test it.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Alex Obeng, for joining us. He speaks for the MTTD. I want to bring that question to you, Michelle Francis, because it's an observation that we make, isn't it? That you find drivers who work for themselves, trotro and taxi drivers, rarely are seen to be actively treating eye problems. Looking at the vast number of people that you treat in Dr. Agarwal's alone, would you say this is a safe observation to make?
I would say no, because most people that come to a hospital are like the elderly. Let's say the average, let's say from 25 to let's say 40 are far in between. And most of the times when they come, they don't want glasses. That's what they don't want glasses. They don't want to wear glasses, even if they have a problem of seeing from afar or even seeing near. They don't want glasses. So the thing about it is that if they don't have these particular things, or let's say eyesight glasses that will help their eyesight in driving, it's going to be a problem, because if they don't have these glasses to be able to drive, then it's going to have a problem with them driving, let's say at night or maybe during the day. Most of the times with the glaucomas, I'm coming back to the glaucoma, it affects your peripheral vision. What I mean by peripheral is like the side of your eyes. Normally you're looking straight, but the side of your eyes, you can at least feel some other things around you. But because of glaucoma, it kind of like starts from that area, so most people don't know they have the problem. So this intense can cause a lot of accidents because they can't see any incoming car from their side of the road, which they now just crane into another person's lane and then cause massive accidents. Right. So I would say that the trotro drivers mostly don't want to announce that they have an eye problem, because if they do say that, their licenses get revoked. They don't get a renewal of their licenses. So yeah, that's a problem.
Michelle Francis, thank you so much for joining us this
Thank you very much for having me.
Live on the Pulse here on Joynews. What we've learned so far. This morning, the MTTD embarked on a sensitization campaign on the Accra-Tema motorway. About 50 persons were observed not wearing seat belts. About 7 minors were observed sitting in the back of vehicles, also not wearing seat belts. The MTTD is calling on all Ghanaians to drive carefully and also get their eyes tested regularly when they're renewing their licenses. Let's stay with healthcare, because the laboratory director of Patholab Medical Services, Elizabeth Irene Beatty, is calling on traders at the various market centers to be cautious of their diet and also practice healthy lifestyles. She made this call during a free medical screening exercise organized for traders at the Adabraka market. According to her, the move forms part of activities to commemorate 20 years of the organization's existence.
The purpose today is to screen these women for these conditions and to give the appropriate advice so that they can go back empowered to look after themselves. In addition to that, we are going to be giving a blood pressure monitor to the market community. We are going to train them on the use of it so that they understand how to use it, become interested in checking early for problems. To a large extent, the diets are very heavy on the carbohydrates, because when you eat carbohydrates, you become full. And carbohydrates have got their role in nutrition. Yes, they provide energy, but outside that, there are lots of other foods, particularly the vegetables, very, very important. So that is an area where the market women perhaps don't have the required information. They feel perhaps if they've just had a big bowl of kinky with a little bit of pepper and fish, it's enough. And then, of course, their lifestyles tend to be quite sedentary. They're coming to the markets with their goods, so they take a dropping, get to the market and sit down the whole day. And a sedentary lifestyle is one of the biggest risk factors for disease. So we're trying to encourage them to take a walk, maybe just ask somebody to keep an eye on things for you, take a 10 or 15 minutes walk around the community in order to get the body going and get the circulation going and help manage these health conditions.
Meanwhile, some traders who participated in the exercise shared their experience with Joynews.
I went for my sugar level, to know my weight and all that. Yeah.
When you check, what was the response from the health?
It was normal. Everything was normal. I've just been advised to eat well. I'm checking BP.
I came here to check my blood pressure. I was told I'm hypertensive. Due to the busy nature of my work, I hardly get time to do these things. That is why I have taken this opportunity to be part of this exercise.
I'm checking BP, I'm checking sugar, malaria.
We stay with healthcare, and the biggest story in the healthcare industry for the past few months has been the coronavirus outbreak. Now, Ghana received the corona scare yesterday when a suspected case was reported at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We understand the Ghanaian woman who was suspected to be to have coronavirus has tested negative. We'll be joined on the line by the Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Bedusa Kodie. Dr. Bedusa Kodie, thanks for joining us. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Dr. Bedusa Kodie there, but like I said, this is a Ghanaian woman who is said to have been living abroad and came into the country. Now, the Ghana Health Service reported that before this case, some 22 cases had been tested at the Noguchi Memorial Institute. All of these cases had tested negative. Currently, 3 sub-Saharan African countries now have people living with coronavirus. Those include Senegal, South Africa, and Cameroon. In Africa, in total, there are 4 countries, with Egypt also reporting coronavirus cases. Now, yesterday, the President, Akufo-Addo, visited the Tema General Hospital, the Ridge Hospital, and also the Kotoka International Airport to assess the preparedness of the nation to deal with a possible coronavirus outbreak. Speaking of the President, he has been urging people in China and other coronavirus high-risk countries not to undertake non-essential travels to the country. He says surveillance at the borders are being strengthened and healthcare personnel are being empowered to help people protect the country. He's been speaking at the 63rd Independence Day celebration in Kumasi. We'll bring you what the President said a bit later, right after this. Thanks for staying with us. This is The Pulse. Now, we can now hear President Akufo-Addo, who was speaking at the 63rd Independence Day celebration in Kumasi with a message for persons living in coronavirus high-risk countries.
63, we know that we have squandered many opportunities that properly utilized would have brought us to the economic breakthrough to which we aspire. We lament, and rightly so, the infrastructure deficits that plague all sectors of our lives, and the considerable number of our people who still live in poverty. But if truth be told, we have solid reason to rejoice and be thankful to the Almighty, for this is a blessed nation. It is a good thing that we are usually so very hard on ourselves, and the critical voices sometimes drown out everything else. For as long as we have not achieved our economic goals, we cannot and should not relax and be complacent. However, we should learn to count our many blessings and not talk ourselves down unnecessarily. It surely must count for something that our nation has been spared the ravages of the medical crisis that is bringing in its wake death and economic difficulties and is spreading fear and panic throughout the world. In the early days of the outbreak, I constituted on 7th February a high-powered emergency response team to handle the crisis, which has been monitoring developments and reporting to me on a daily basis. Strict checks at our entry points are being conducted with rigorous screening procedures. Isolation and treatment centers have been designated for potential cases, and a quarantine center has been set up. 5,000 personal protective equipments for health workers have been procured and distributed to all regions and major health facilities, points of entry, teaching hospitals, treatment centers, and selected health facilities. Additional protective health equipment is being procured. Training of health workers in the treatment of the disease is being provided and is ongoing. In the interim, non-essential travel into Ghana is being strongly discouraged from high-risk countries, namely China, Iran, Italy, Japan, and South Korea. We're counting on the experts to do their part to safeguard us, but we all have a responsibility to take measures to help ourselves and each other. The recommendations are for each one of us to practice basic personal hygiene and be extra careful with sanitation. For the time being, as the Ministry of Health has advised, we have to revisit our custom of shaking hands.
On the subject of coronavirus, we've been joined on the line by Dr. Bedu Sarkodie, who is Head of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service. Dr. Sarkodie, please brief us on the status of this case that was tested and has shown negative.
Daniel, a bit louder, please.
We just want you to update us. Right. We just want you to brief us on the tests that were carried out and how you arrived at this negative result.
Right. Thank you very much, Daniel. We had a report of suspected case of COVID-19 in Colombo yesterday, and the necessary steps to get samples taken to send a sample to Noguchi, and then Noguchi, doing the assessment, has finished with the investigation, and they have come up with a report and shared with us, indicating that they have done the test. And what they do negative control, positive control on the samples sent to them. They do extract whatever, if the germ were to be there, the virus, they're using molecular tests to assess if the virus is within the sample that was taken. They have done all that is required and done it again, and indeed the report has come up to be negative, and we've given us that report from the Noguchi Memorial to Medical Research.
We understand that this brings the total number of cases tested negative to 46 locally.
That's correct. Indeed, for every suspected case, sample has to be taken and sent to the lab for the necessary investigations, laboratory investigations to be done. It's only by lab that the confirmation could be done. So this one added that to 46. All of these have been investigated in the lab, and all of them have tested negative. So for now, we can be very definite that we don't have a confirmed case of COVID-19 in Ghana.
For the sake of listeners who may not have been updated on this story, what made us suspect she may have coronavirus in the first place?
This was a woman who is a Ghanaian, lives in United States, and she came to Ghana purposely to undergo a gynecological operation. And indeed, as part of the preparation, they did everything that they should to prepare her. And just a few, and I think even the surgery might have been done. Then a few hours or so after the surgery, she spiked temperature. And then further interrogation indicated that coming from US, and indeed in US, they have confirmed cases, but then it's not very high-risk country. But then the woman herself indicated that within her flight, there were quite a number of people with possible respiratory conditions. So he thinks that based on this, the clinician had the suspicion that they have to consider assessing this very candidate or client for COVID-19. And that is the rationale for the suspicion, and the necessary steps have been taken, and the report is negative.
Now, Dr. Medusa Akwadi, in the last release put out by the Health Ministry on our preparedness to deal with the coronavirus outbreak, we understand that some 5,000 PPEs were procured by the Ghana Health Service and the Health Ministry. We know PPEs are used and disposed of in some cases. How many of these have been used? How many have been allocated to Korle Bu, for instance?
The 5,000 have been sent to all the respective areas that potentially could be suspected cases, and we've sent some to areas where potentially we manage cases. I'm aware that Korle Bu, they had not less than 100.
Right. So in a case like this where Korle Bu has had a coronavirus scare, one would expect that some of those have been used. What's the plan to replenish them? When are we making sure that
the line is a bit faint? I can't get the entire discussion.
I was asking that since we know that we've had a suspected case, one would expect that some of these PPEs have been used. So when are we going to replenish those resources? What are the plans to get more PPEs?
Indeed, I am aware the minister has said that requested for 5,000 more, and even there are plans to get more. Some of the partners have even given us, WHO has given us recently some quantities, and we are not waiting to deplete what is available before you get more. So plans are in place to get more as required.
Now, we understand that this woman, because she came for a gynecological procedure, was kept in a single room of the 6th floor of the maternity block. So is that where we have designated for isolation, or the isolation ward, which the Director of Public Health for Korle Bu called for its refurbishment, has been prepared?
Prior to, you see, the woman was not being assessed for COVID. She was being assessed for a gynecological procedure, as you rightly mentioned. And I think that area where they sent her, not for the purpose of COVID-19, but then she was sent there purposely for the gynecological procedure. Having been sent there already, and later there was the need to evaluate her for the COVID. Indeed, it's important that wherever you are, you have to minimize movement. And that was why this woman was made to remain where she was and not to move around too much, for if it happened to be a positive case, not to contaminate the environment further.
I was asking, sir, that the last time we spoke to the Director of Public Health at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, he complained that the initial isolation ward, which was set up for Ebola, for fighting Ebola a few years ago, had deteriorated. Has that isolation ward now been refurbished?
I know that they have a place, but then we need to further go and inspect their situation for now, because we had the information that all the teaching hospitals have some place that they can potentially manage cases of COVID-19. And then we also are aware that some of the staff at Korle Bu have been trained and are part of the rapid response team.
Dr. Medusa Akwadi, the question that has been raised within the medical community has been away from the major referral centers, the primary healthcare facilities, what checks the Ghana Health Service and HEFRA, for instance, carrying out in private hospitals in the first ports of call when people are sick to ensure that they have the right PPEs, they have the right equipment to deal with a possible coronavirus case?
We've had engagement with the private medical practitioners at their places of work during one of the meetings. And I think one of the annual general meetings more than 2 weeks ago, I went there personally and made a presentation, and that the various guidelines we prepared as a country, we shared with them the guidelines. The leadership of the private was there, Dr. Morrison, and we have had meeting with him about 2 further occasions. And what needs to be done, we have discussed with him and some of them directly, the private practitioners. The PPEs that we shared, I think they were giving some quota, which I believe that considering the number of private facilities in the country, we cannot share entirely some reasonable quantity to them. So the advice is that as much as possible, each of the practitioners should do best to get some to complement what will be available, and that it's important that all practitioners, having in mind that we will not be very definite and very clear where a case suspected may come from or may be seen, it's important that we get the needed PPE. And this is what the discussion that has gone on. I must admit that we would not be in position for every private provider to give all the PPEs that are required. So we require that we also, as we are seeing cases, and every case potentially could be suspected. For instance, this one, this woman came in purposely for gynecological procedure, and this finally it ended up to be considered to review and investigated as COVID. So we have shared the various guidelines and operative procedure with them, what to do. And then the logistics supply, we suggested that individuals, they have to support and take steps to get some for themselves. As what we have, we shared and give some through their leadership.
Right. Doctor, I was asking about the number of checks that have been carried out. For instance, is the Ghana Health Service able to tell us the number of health facilities in Ghana, public or private, which have currently been prepared to receive and deal with any possible coronavirus case?
The training and preparation has started and it's ongoing. And it's not being done at the national level alone. Within the region, the district, whatever they do in preparation, we have directed and instructed that the private facilities within such regions should be part.
So do we know the number we've reached out to? Have we checked to see on a regional and district level if these people have PPEs?
It has started and it's ongoing, but then the total for which region, how much? But then I know that the regions actively have started training for the staff. We started as cascading training, building capacity at the national level, at the regions, and then the regions are training within the regions and also the district.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bedusa Kodia, for joining us. He is the Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service. You're still live on The Pulse here on the Joynews channel. My name is Daniel Daze. The Kolebu Teaching Hospital released a statement in relation with this particular issue, and we have it on the screen now. It says here, US-based Ghanaian woman who needed gynecological services had booked an appointment to see a doctor in the hospital. The said woman arrived 5 days ago. She reported at the maternity block, was admitted for gynecological procedures. In the process, it was detected, that she had high-grade fever. Her history revealed she had traveled from a country and state in the US where COVID-19 had been diagnosed. She had also had mild respiratory symptoms and met the case definition for a suspected case of COVID-19 as defined by the Ghana Health Service. So they went on with laboratory investigations that were done. You see there, she was in a single room on the 6th floor of the maternity block. All staff who attended to her were given PPEs, and she was reviewed as of this morning. So this statement was put out before the case was tested. But now what we know is that this woman has tested negative for COVID-19. You are live here on the Pulse, here on the Joy News channel. We end the bulletin on a sweet note, if I can say, because today, well, not ending the bulletin, but before, still ahead in the bulletin, we are holding the Adom Fufu Party. Now, this is an event that goes on the 6th of March every year. It brings viewers of Adom TV and listeners of Adom FM from all over the country to the premises of the multimedia group, where they enjoy a delicious bowl of fufu and any soup of their choice with their favorite Adom TV personalities. Still live on the Pulse. Thank you for staying with us. It's the 6th of March. It's a holiday. The best way is to eat a good, delicious bowl of authentic Ghanaian fufu. That's exactly what Adom TV and Adom FM is seeking to do today, with thousands of listeners and viewers who have joined to become revelers. If you're around Kokomlemle, you can pass by the multimedia group premises and feast your eyes and then do the proper feast. Like I said earlier, we'll be going downstairs to speak with Mamiesi, who is currently speaking with listeners and is observing activities there. But this is an annual affair, like I said. Revelers come from all over the country. I spoke with people earlier who came from the central region, from the Brongahafo region. Let's go now and speak to Mamiesi. Mamiesi, what's the atmosphere like downstairs?
Of the event, they've been here, they've enjoyed their fufu. Hundreds have enjoyed and left. Hundreds more are here enjoying musical concert going on just by my side. And around me are people not coming from Accra, they are coming from the central and the western region, and even some from the Bono region, just to enjoy the fufu party. I have right here with me, what's your name and where are you coming from?
Medindi Nyamiche, alias AKA Junior Abbas. Now, baby, I'm free at Timoda.
So what are you doing? Did you enjoy some of the fufu? What were you here to?
I mean, to translate. Tell me to translate.
And then I got 63 years.
Okay, so he's here to have fun, enjoy himself. It's Independence Day, and he thought it best to be here at Adom Fufu Party. And you are from the Bono region. Yeah, what are you also doing? And did you eat some of the fufu?
Yeah, Fufu Party tina me ba, you know. And then I come Ghana 63 years. And now I'm Cromanti, I'm a Ghana of a baby free country. And I'm also to Adom TV there, Adom TV, we are the best. Adom TV, we are the best.
Thank you very much. There's this gentleman here who is telling me he's really enjoyed the food. He's been here since morning. Tell me more about what you've been enjoying here since.
Come, everything was going successfully. The food here, Adom TV.
I can see that your Asanka is
yeah, as you can see, I just delicious. I got a Crantiano, offer take care. Offer here.
Yes. You can see it's all excitement here. More and more sizzling events happening on and around us. There are the side shows, there are others too at the back. I understand that there's more food. People are waiting for food to enjoy. And whilst the artists, we've had Kofi Kinata, we have Kel Songs, we have Donzi, so many of the artists have come and gone, others have come to dance, and it's been exciting. For Joy News, Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson.
That's quite the sight. You can only get that at the Adum Fufu party. It's not too late. If you want to grab a bite or meet your favorite Adum celebrity, you can come to Kokomlemle and meet them immediately now. Human rights violations against women in Ghana still exist in different forms. These include discrimination against women in the form of gender-based violence, forced and early marriage, degrading widowhood rights, and other such violations of women's rights that pervade society and lead to inequality between men and women. There are also cultural and traditional practices that perpetuate this problem. Joining us in studio are Anthony Sedgwick from Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, CHRI, and Aaron Bashan, convener, Movement for Social Inclusion. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Let me begin with you, Ms. Bashan. In the first place, Sunday is International Women's Day. It's important that we highlight issues like this, but how far have we come in making sure that men and women enjoy equal rights and opportunities so far in the country?
What a loaded question. I wonder whether there will be enough time to break that down. But I think I can use my life from the generation that I emerged from till date. What I have seen over the years, even in terms of the legal frameworks, policies that support women empowerment. For instance, in my industry, today I look and I see women within management positions, even women as owners of media. But of course, it's still a very insignificant number. If you look at the political landscape, it's still the same story. How many women are part of the power block that is determining the destiny of this nation in parliament? Is still an insignificant number. Even when you talk about appointments, political appointments, where you don't have the challenges of, let's say, primaries and all the other, filtering measures that exclude women. So presidents, of course, there is the constitutional provision that enjoins that there is regional gender balancing when it comes to consideration of political appointments, but still it's woefully inadequate. I think it was only the late President Prof. Atta Mills, who came out boldly to set a target, a quota of a 40% appointment for women. Even that, he still couldn't even measure up. And so you see how difficult it is. The girl-child issue is still as critical today as it was. But I think we have made strides. But we can't rest on our earth. There's still so much to be done.
Well, the current administration also promised 30% women female appointments.
You should be doing your monitoring.
It's difficult to place an exact figure because the appointees are about 14,000 in the civil service.
I don't think so. I don't think, Daniel, we know what the numbers that add up. For instance, for the kind of constitutional regime we practice, the executive is so empowered with a tall list of appointments that it can make. Can you imagine what bold a statement a president, the sitting president we know is already known both locally
and globally?
Thank you. That do you know what a bold statement he can make if he decides that even going beyond the 30% threshold, even 40%. Look, all public institutions that have boards, all these board members, board chair, and all those appointments, you just that one. And
it's an interesting case.
You'll be amazed.
It's an interesting case you mentioned. But
these are just appointments. That's all the merits there is to it.
Let me bring Mr. Sedgwick into the conversation. Of course, CHRI has done so much work in this space. Can you brief us on what we are doing and what we are planning to do?
Right.
Especially with Women's Day coming up.
Okay. I will, but before that, can I add to what Aram said?
Of course.
Just to bring a bit of perspective and some numbers to it. There's inadequate representation of women in leadership. Okay, political leadership we mean. Just some numbers. It will surprise you to know that women make up only 29% of ministers, 23% of deputy ministers, 16% of chief directors, and 8% of district, municipal, and metropolitan DCEs. Okay, these are the figures, 8%. Out of the 275 MPs we have in parliament, there are only 35 women, both majority and minority. That's 12%. So it tells you...
That's unpardonable.
Exactly. It tells you it is a serious issue. Yes, as Aram said, strides have been made,
Why is it so?
but we haven't gotten there yet. There's a lot to be done, and that is why CHRI, together with African Center for Sustainable Development and ARAM's organization, we've come together to start an advocacy with the support of the Netherlands Embassy to empower women. We
want to shatter the ceiling.
Exactly, and get more women come up in leadership positions, empower women. And a lot of these are not just, yes, if the president or the appointer is able to appoint a lot of women, it will change. But the root cause has to do with the culture that we have.
Okay.
We have a culture that believes that it is a men's society. Men should decide. Women should be seen and not heard. You understand? And so in many situations, at home especially, you can have a boy and a girl, okay, all going to school. When they come back, the boy is supposed to go and do the homework. The girl is supposed to go and fetch water, cook, get ready for the home. And if he or she is not ready, the girl is not ready, she's even married off early. And so there are formidable obstacles at home, okay, culturally, that prevent women from climbing up, so that the appointers even have the chance to even appoint enough.
Identify
them. Yes.
So how are we doing this? It looks like a tall order.
Yes, which was to say that why this program is so critical is that he's talking about an aspect of this whole exclusion regime that can't be legislated against. I mean, irrespective of even all the policies and legal frameworks we have, we are still struggling even with enforcement. You're talking about strong social norms.
Exactly. The mindset.
Even for us as women, I just want to use me. I consciously have to literally whip my sons in line. I prefer always drawing my daughter by my side into the kitchen, into doing all the domestic chores, than looking over my son. So I consciously have to unlearn that, undo that. And I consider myself as so enlightened and so emancipated a woman, mentally, intellectually, and socially.
Right.
So these norms are very strong. So this program for platforms like this is to sensitize us, and that work is not an overnight thing. I have done programs even in northern Ghana. You'll be amazed. Women, they just can't even see themselves engaging their male peers. Let alone to discuss issues that relates to their well-being within, and I'm talking about not even social leaders.
This is a conversation
These are
that
political leaders that they have the right to even interact and engage.
So that's a conversation that I can't deign to end immediately.
Exactly.
We would have to continue this specifically with Monday being the day after International Women's Day. But run us through quickly the program that we're going to have, and how viewers can be involved.
Yes, we thank Joynews immensely for the opportunity to talk about it. So Women's Day falls on Sunday, and so because there will be a lot of commemoration on Monday, and so Monday what we are doing, we'll be visiting a lot of media houses for advocacy, okay, to talk about this, to tie in with our advocacy on women's empowerment. Okay, and so we will surely come back to Joynews on Monday to come and talk about what the other programs that we are doing. But the message is truly everywhere you find yourself, we need to give more opportunities to women, because when women are empowered, the society moves. Research has shown that households where women are in charge, okay, the family progresses more, and so we need to empower women every aspect of their. And so the appointer at home, at work, wherever they are, women must be promoted, even as we celebrate International Women's Day on Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Please,
and in line with that, there's actually a very empowered woman right now telling me in my ear I need to wrap up.
Well, but to say that the theme is I am generation equality.
Okay.
Please, multimedia, do more of empowering the women, pull them from the bottom up. It shouldn't just be the sound of women equality and all of that, but let's walk the talk. And so we are not dismissed as sounding like a broken record. It is real.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Aaron
you.
Mashan and Anthony Sedro. My name is Daniel Daze. This has been The Pulse. We'll continue with this issue, like I said, on Monday. But many thanks for joining us. This has been The Pulse. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. It's now time for sports. We'll be back after sports. Stay with us.
has been made for Ghana swimming. Dr. Owusu Ansan, representing the Minister of Youth and Sports, officially launched the Ghana 7th edition swimming championship staged in Ghana. Prior to this, the session has started in the morning with swimmers breaking records and setting new ones. Incredible stories being told by young swimmers who seek to become the next Michael Phelps. One of such swimmers is Senegalese Sebastian Kuma, breaking a record he set himself with a time of 1 minute 42 seconds in 200 meters breaststroke.
We are working a lot to construct the best races possible. This is, like you said, the new record of this championship, but it's a bit far of my best time, more than 1 second. The positive thing is I am able to swim this here in this condition, so I am very happy and proud of this.
An incredible story was told from a Ghanaian perspective as Abeku Jackson broke his own personal record at a time of 5393 seconds. The president of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Diop, had words of encouragement and appraisal for Ghana for hosting the championship. The president of the Ghana Swimming Association, Theophilus, was so excited that Ghana is hosting the rest of Africa.
We were planning way like 8 years before this time. We turned down many offers given to us since my inception of office 10 years ago. But I was telling them any time that they gave me offer to host this kind of national and international assignment. I said, we are not there, because I know the kind of statistics I want to put through. I know the kind of facility I want to put through. This is the one of the 5 best in the world.
Earlier, it was the coach of the Ghana Swimming Association in the person of Abiu Jackson who was so excited that the swimmers have started a journey.
Obviously, the future is bright. What we need is the total support of Ghana on this project that we have embarked upon. We need the support. We need everybody to understand that it won't happen overnight. We need everybody to understand that the little gains will end up as a massive improvement. A few years ago, even in West Africa, Ghana was a total non-entity. Now, we are medaling. There's confidence in Ghana hosting. I think with all the challenges we've had with hosting, the administrators have done a fantastic job, because they had only 2 months where others have a year and over. And we've gone through the first part, which is the most difficult part. I think that lots of things are happening in swimming, and with the support of the media, with the support of everybody, we will just burst onto the international scene big time.
Abeku Jackson, whom we have mentioned, that set a new record for Ghana swimming with a time of 53.93 seconds in the 100 meters butterfly, told Joy Sports the journey has just begun. Tokyo 2020 is the focal point that he seeks to achieve.
Yeah, it's on course. Like I said, breaking this record already put me on the map to Tokyo. We're looking forward to dropping more seconds to come. We're looking forward to going out there in Tokyo 2020 to give out my best shot, like I always say. I set targets for myself this meet. I made a target, and my next target, I'm going to set it when I get back home. I'm just going to work hard and give out my best.
150 swimmers from 21 different Central and Western African countries are all in Ghana seeking for places in Tokyo 2020. The journey to Tokyo starts today. The journey to Tokyo starts from Ghana. The journey to Tokyo starts from the Trust Sports Emporium International Swimming Pool. Hundreds are seeking to be the next Michael Phelps, and hundreds are seeking to announce themselves to the world. It's a 4-day competition, and Sunday will give us a clearer picture of who makes it to Tokyo. From the Trust Sports Emporium, for Joy News, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
And that's it for this bulletin of the Pulse. My name is Daniel Daze. Have a happy Independence Day. Enjoy the holiday and have a great weekend.